digging out after the first big dump.
I have a history of back problems, and I'm conscious of it and being careful.
Slick streets, lots of crashes, and canceled flights. Commuter chaos on winter's return. Plus, 6 more UCP MLAs face recall petitions.
It's being used as a tool to destabilize government.
Will it tip the balance of power in the legislature? And the cat came back.
How could she possibly have survived all this time, and we had no idea where she was?
8 years on the run. A calico named Catherine now back in her family's arms.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
This is the first real snowfall of the season and the first real test for drivers. Here's a look at Deerfoot Trail tonight as people head home from work, and hopefully they are all driving on winter tires. Hello and thank you for joining us. Throughout the course of the day, more than 380 collisions were reported and more than 24 people were hurt. The tow trucks and the plows were out in force and people had to find their shovels, but it was all just a little too much. Tyler Barrow reports.
Calgarians woke up to a winter wonderland Monday morning, but it was hardly a welcome Christmas present. This was the scene of a 9-vehicle pileup in Bankview. The driver we spoke with had their BMW squished in the non-plowed side street. She advises other drivers to avoid them.
Roads are just really slick. Couldn't stop vehicles, huge pileup.
The crash resulted in no serious injuries. However, Calgary Police Service is reporting 389 collisions, 26 resulting in injuries, with 50 hit and runs. For those using public transportation, it was hectic. These 2 buses among the 70 that got stuck over the course of the day. Tow trucks had a busy day. Cheap Towing had approximately 25 people contact them for help as calls kept coming in.
A lot of people did not have their snow tires on, so hopefully the snow melts away to give them a second chance.
As of 3 p.m., the city's snow plan was activated. Crews will begin working to clear Priority 1 roads like Crowchild Trail and Glenmore.
Once the snowfall stops, our target is to have the Priority 1 network cleared within 18 hours. I would anticipate that happens more quickly on this event.
Pedestrian infrastructure will also be prioritized, which the city wants cleared within 24 hours of the plan being activated. For some Calgarians, there was no complaining about the snowfall after the warm, dry fall we enjoyed.
We know how the seasons work, so it's only a matter of time till we face this every year, and here we are.
I'm not complaining because, you know, we've had such great weather up until now, so we knew it was coming.
Yeah, we were kind of spoiled. Tyler joins us now. Okay, Tyler, what's the advice from the city before people hit the road?
Yeah, drivers are advised to be patient and giving yourself extra time to get to your destination. Now, the city is also asking to provide additional distance between your vehicle and the one in front, as well as winterizing your vehicle. Now, Chris Hewitt with the city stresses for drivers who are coming across crews who are working to give them additional space because they're usually working in the worst conditions. Now, a 24-hour parking ban is not in place right now. However, homeowners have 24 hours to clear their sidewalks. Tara?
Okay, Tyler, thank you. Here's a live look inside the main terminal building at the Calgary International Airport tonight. Some passengers are still cooling their heels there this evening or scrambling to make alternate plans because the snowy weather has led to numerous flights being canceled or delayed. WestJet alone says it has canceled 38 flights today because of what it calls extreme weather conditions. Many flights were diverted from Calgary today, too. All takeoffs and landings went on a temporary pause for a period early this morning during that heavy snowfall. But many travelers say they're feeling frustrated, especially since airlines are telling them no hotel vouchers are being provided because weather events are not covered.
We had car trouble on the way here. Our flight was supposed to land in Florida at 6. Our flight now is booked for a red-eye on the 26th of November, which is the day before Thanksgiving.
It's very frustrating. There's nobody in the airport to help you. There's nobody to tell you where to go. Everybody tells you use these QR codes, go online, phone, but it's nice to be able to talk to someone in person to get you set up right away.
Officials at YYC say the airport is prepared for winter, and experienced crews and special equipment are always ready to keep runways and taxiways clear and safe. Now, highway driving is a bit of a problem too, especially south of Calgary. This is Highway 2 near the turnoff to Sheep River earlier today. There was snow on the highway and some icy sections. Visibility was considered fair, though, although there was some blowing snow. Let's bring Danielle in now. Okay, so is this snow event over, or is there more going to fall tonight?
All right, the bulk of it is over. We are looking at on and off flurries possible in all of southern Alberta up until about midnight. And for the far southeast corner of the province, even through the overnight hours, some isolated flurries, plus a little windy at times, so that may reduce visibility in some spots. Also, this cold weather is absolutely here to stay, which means it will be very icy and slippery out there on the roads, on sidewalks, as well as we head through tonight and through tomorrow and much of the week. -4 is the base temperature. It feels like -6 with that lovely wind chill. And for tomorrow morning when off to work and school, it will feel more like -14. So it will get colder as we go, but at least it will be drier. So no snow falling for tomorrow. In the afternoon, though, with a mix of sun and cloud, the wind chill will feel more like -7. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. 6 new recall petitions have now been issued for UCP MLAs, pushing the total to 9. Elections Alberta confirms recall petitions have been approved for Cabinet Ministers Rajan Sawhney, Miles McDougall, Dale Nally, and RJ Sigurdsson. Petitions are also approved for Speaker of the House Rick McIver and Associate Minister of Multiculturalism Mohammed Yassin. Petitions were previously approved for Education Minister Demetrius Nicolaides, backbencher Nolan Dick, and Deputy Speaker Angela Pitt. 5 represent the Calgary area. Terry Fikowski is following this. So, Terry, how could these recall efforts tip the balance of power in the legislature?
Tara, it is a long, multi-stage process, but if all 9 MLAs are defeated in constituency votes, the government would lose its majority status. But we are far from that point right now. Elections Alberta's approval gives petition organizers 90 days to collect signatures from the MLA's constituency. If they collect 60% of votes in the last provincial election, a vote is held on whether the member keeps their seat before a by-election would take place. Now, many of the politicians targeted by these recall petitions say it's an abuse of the legislation. That includes the Minister of Services and Red Tape Reduction, Dale Nally, who says the recall movement is the work of a left-wing activist group. He sent a letter to Elections Alberta questioning the credibility of the person who launched the petition against him. That would be St. Albert resident Josh Eberhardt, who takes offense to the claims. He says he doesn't vote in every election, is a regular citizen, and has no hidden agenda.
This is clearly a case of a left-wing activist group, Alberta Resistance, that is using recall, that is weaponizing it to force a general election.
When I first filed, I think Dale had a response that this was a well-funded, well-organized organization, and my wife kind of cracked a joke. She's like, "You're not well-organized or well-funded." So, no, it's just me.
Elections Alberta says all the approved recall applications meet the requirements set out by the provincial legislation. Premier Danielle Smith has said she's considering changes to the Recall Act, which of course, Tara, was brought in by her predecessor, Jason Kenney, which she then later amended to lower the threshold for applicants to gather signatures.
Okay, Terry, thank you. It is budget week at City Hall, and Council is setting the city's spending for next year. But first, it is up to Calgarians to weigh in on changes for 2026. Jordan Canagan reports.
While snow settles outside, a budget debate inside City Hall is heating up.
So we're going to be looking at significantly reducing the increase that residential homeowners are facing.
A lofty task as more than 130 Calgarians make their pitch for the 2026 budget. Community groups are asking for more money for everything from housing to sporting facilities.
If we don't have better fields, if we don't have good fields, people are going to start turning away.
And I think with more fields and with more opportunities to play, kids like me and like the hundreds of kids that play in cricket in Calgary will be able to just achieve their dreams.
Road improvements are also being asked for. Council will consider $24 million more for pavement reconstruction.
We have a lot of roads and we should take care of them. And if it turns out that we can't afford to take care of them, then we should be grown-ups and we should have that conversation and admit that and then figure out what our possible responses are.
The proposed budget right now calls for increased spending, with taxes climbing by 5.8% for single-family residential properties. The mayor wants to bring that hike down.
To have a 5% or so increase is just not justified given the current economic climate. And then we're also going to continue to push for the needed investments around core transit service, around public safety measures, and attacking the root causes of crime.
Jordan joins us from City Hall tonight. So, Jordan, where could council find some savings?
Well, Tara, we're expecting to hear a lot more of those ideas as we move throughout this week, and expect that to eat up a lot of time when it comes to debate on possible savings or spending. Some of the ideas that have been floated around actually surround transit. One councillor suggested that we could get rid of the free fare zone for transit downtown. He also wants to see them reinstate fares for use under 12 on transit, which is currently they don't have to pay. We'll also see a lot of discussion when it comes to canceling the tax shift from businesses to homeowners. We could also see some pitches to dip into reserves to cover some of that spending. It will take a lot of time, and we won't get any final decisions on the budget until later on this week, likely late Thursday or into Friday. Tara?
Okay, Jordan Canagan reporting. Jordan, thank you. Former City Councillor Ray Clark has died at the age of 80. He was the Ward 10 representative from 1983 to 1995, and he ran unsuccessfully for mayor in 1998 and 2001. Before serving on council, he had a career in the city planning department. Mayor Jeremy Farkas says flags will fly at half-mast at Old City Hall on the day of Clark's funeral, which has not yet been announced.
You're watching CTV News Calgary.
Have you ever lost something and then years later found it? What about a pet? The Calgary family thought their feline was gone for good nearly a decade ago, until one phone call changed it all last week, and it was a reunion in the making. Tyson Fedor reports.
It's a quiet, snow-covered rural road just south of Okotoks. This is where Catherine the calico cat was found last week before being dropped off here at the Southern Alberta Veterinary Emergency Hospital.
Just hearing that she had both a microchip and a tattoo, and we still couldn't locate any owners, just didn't sit right with me.
A call out on social media spread the word. Staff were looking for its owner. Then a call to the Humane Society connected with Karina Murray.
I got the news when I was driving, and I pulled over when they showed me so I could look at the photo to see if that was her, and it was, and then I instantly started crying.
Murray adopted Catherine nearly 12 years ago as a kitten. The feline disappeared 3 years later, and the family believed she was gone for good.
We adopted 2 other kittens, and she didn't like them very much. Yeah. So then she started to go outside a little bit more, but she'd always come home. And then one day, she just didn't come home.
Until now, Catherine is back home in Calgary, where she spent the last 8 years. Nobody knows.
The fact that she did survive all the years, we have no idea what she's been through, and I really wish she could talk, because she could tell us all her stories.
But the Murrays never lost hope.
We strongly suspected that she wasn't dead because she's so tough and so smart.
Nathaniel Murray was 9 when Catherine went missing. Now 17, he calls the reunion a surreal moment.
She played such a big role in my life at 9 years old, you know, in my forming years, and finally being able to see her again was just an unbelievable experience.
And after all this time apart, the Murrays are not taking any chances.
We don't intend on letting her anywhere near the outside because we can't risk that happening again.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Okotoks.
Still to come, the Alberta government introduces legislation to establish a dual practice model for some of the province's doctors. Not all doctors can explore private options. We'll lay out where some of the restrictions will exist. And song therapy, how members of a choir are using their voices to improve their memories. The province has introduced a bill that, if passed, will introduce two-tier healthcare system. Many doctors, it will allow them to toggle between public and private services. It's an effort to improve surgical wait times and attract more physicians, but there could be some downfalls. Jacqueline Wilson reports.
On Monday, the province introduced Bill 11, and among the many proposed changes to the healthcare system is one that introduces a dual model healthcare system where certain doctors will be able to choose whether they bill a service to the province or a patient privately on a case-by-case basis.
The proposed amendments in this bill represent a new era for healthcare in Alberta.
There are exclusions. All emergency care and urgent surgeries, as well as cancer treatments, will only be covered by the public plan. There will be no private options. Also, family doctors are restricted from participating in the dual practice at this time.
I think this is a tool that will help us retain physicians and other healthcare professionals that are frankly going to other jurisdictions, and it will retain that activity in the Alberta economy as opposed to sending it to other jurisdictions.
But the Alberta Medical Association isn't sure it'll be a big lure.
Our big concern with at the Alberta Medical Association is how do we potentially add private care to our system that already is struggling with the public system, and particularly when it comes to workforce.
The province says they might make changes to the rules in the future, like making doctors do a certain number of public services before they can do private. But at this time, those restrictions aren't in place.
If the private system is more lucrative, and if the patients within the private system on average have less complex medical needs, then the concern is that they're going to prioritize those private patients, and that the patients left in the public system are going to wait longer for care.
And Jacqueline joins us with more on some of the amendments in Bill 11. Jackie, there could also be changes coming to health care cards.
Yes, Tara, there certainly will be. So the province is proposing that in late 2026, Albertans will actually have to start renewing their health care cards. And the province says that they're doing this in order to prove that you are eligible for coverage, but also to avoid any misuse that could happen. And I did ask the health minister today, will we have to start paying for these renewals? And she said it is a possibility, but they haven't made up all of those regulations yet. Now, this is the latest in kind of a series of changes to our health care cards. I'll go over them now. So the other change is you can now get a mobile healthcare card as well. There's also been announced that you can add a healthcare number to your driver's license. That'll start around the same time next year, so late 2026. Tara?
Okay, Jacqueline, thank you. Thousands of nursing care workers will vote this week on the deal reached between AUPE and Alberta Health Services.
Our unity and our determination brought AHS right to the edge, and they chose not to jump.
Edmonton workers showed up at the picket line Saturday morning and were told an agreement had been reached. AUPE represents about 16,000 workers, including licensed practical nurses, healthcare aides, and operating room technicians. The agreement includes a base wage increase of 12% over 4 years, plus more in market adjustments.
This is CTV News Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle back in now. How much snow did we actually get today?
Well, if you look at Calgary, Cochrane, Airdrie area, all the way off to the west, Banff area, anywhere from 10 to 20 centimeters. And really, we've probably added a couple more to that. And we may even add another centimeter or so because isolated flurries are still possible before this is all fully done. But the bulk of it is done. The cold, yep, we're not done with that. That's here all week. So we have to get used to that. In fact, it will get colder and colder as we go through the coming days. I will give you an update on how much snow fell as Environment Canada posts that. And I'll give you those details tomorrow to sum it all up. -6 is what it feels like in the city right now with the wind chills. So the wind chill values are in the blue here. -7 is what it feels like in Claresholm. -17 in Pincher Creek. Winter's here. Yep, a big burst of it. -11 for Lethbridge and -8 with that wind chill in Medicine Hat. We did have gusty conditions at times today, as you can see here, 30 to 40 kilometers per hour in much of the south. We're looking at calmer winds for tomorrow. We're looking at better conditions for tomorrow with regards to no more snow falling, because this is pretty much out, just isolated flurries now through the overnight hours for many communities, and then it's all said and done. But the roads will still be slick and the sidewalks will still be slick. So we have to get used to that because we won't get warm enough for that to melt very much at all. All right, looking at those isolated pockets of flurries right through the overnight hours, especially for the far southeast corner. For Calgary, it looks like we'll be done by midnight fully. And then for the next couple of days, really the story is just a mix of sun and cloud. Really what we're looking at though is another system tracking in on Thursday. This is a look at 2 in the afternoon. That's when it starts to approach. It will move into the far south first and then track into the city. For the far south, at this point, it's looking like a 10 to 15 centimeter type system. And for Calgary, we're looking at getting closer to 5 to 7 centimeters of snow. So it's another big boost of snow on the way for Thursday. So great for the mountains. Of course, not so great for our road conditions as we may be a little rusty getting into this once again. All right, this is your Action Furnace 5-day forecast. -3 is our high for tomorrow, but even in the afternoon, it will still feel like -7 with the wind chill. And again, in the morning with that wind chill, -14. So certainly cold for the rest of this week. Fog patches possible in the morning hours as well. -2 is our high for Wednesday, -6 with snowfall on Thursday, and then back down to -7 as we get into Friday and those flurries taper off. All right, Toy Mountain got a big boost thanks to a donation of $5,000 from Action Furnace. That brings our count to 326 toys with a cash value just over $25,400. Your donations of new unwrapped toys and essential items help families fleeing domestic violence. And cash donations allow Fears Not Love to make purchases based on needs.
The need is still there. Now it's get them the support, get them so that they can get out and stay out, or so that they can stay in. Because this isn't about just leaving and being gone. This is if we can make the family whole, then that's amazing.
A little bit helps so much. $25 can help purchase items for babies or toddlers, while $5,000 can cover a shelter stay for a whole family. You can find a full list of donation drop-off locations or make a cash donation at ctvcalgary.ca.
An investigation is ordered after a man died in Calgary police custody. It happened as officers tried to make an arrest at a home in the southeast. We'll have the details. And questions about BC's grizzly bear hunting ban after a vicious attack last week. We'll tell you who thinks that ban should be lifted. A man has died in Calgary police custody, and Alberta's police watchdog is investigating. Calgary police responded to a mental health call at a southeast home yesterday afternoon. Police say when they arrived, a man in his 40s was behaving erratically. When they attempted to take him into custody, he assaulted one of the officers. Officers then deployed tasers, but the man continued to resist and then went into medical distress. He was taken to hospital where he later died. No officers sustained serious physical injuries. RCMP are warning of the release of a high-risk offender who has completed his federal prison sentence. 32-year-old Cody Manyshot served a sentence for sexual assault causing bodily harm, kidnapping, robbery, and other offenses. Manyshot plans to live on the Siksika Reserve. He and his brother Corey were convicted after a 17-year-old girl was kidnapped from a bus stop in Taradale and taken to a home in Martindale where she was repeatedly assaulted in 2014. There are calls to revisit the ban on hunting grizzly bears in BC after several recent attacks. 4 people were hurt, including young children, in Bella Coola last week. A group of 20 elementary students and teachers were attacked during a field trip. 3 bears, a grizzly sow, and 2 cubs were involved. The BC Wildlife Federation is among the groups calling for a lifting of the hunting ban, which has been in place since 2017.
Obviously, there's other tools around mitigation, attracted management, bear conflict, but a number of places that, historically were opposed to grizzly bear hunting, we're hearing more and more from them now that they're really concerned, and there's having additional conflicts in the last couple of years.
In terms of a policy change, at this time, what we're trying to do is just focus on keeping the community safe and trying to locate the bear.
Alberta has partially lifted its ban on grizzly bear hunting, allowing for the targeted killing of problem bears that could pose a risk. Now, a grizzly bear was captured in Bella Coola early this morning, but conservation officers say they have not been able to link it to last week's attack. They say they compared evidence from the attack scene to that of the bear, but it was not conclusive. As a result, the bear will be fitted with a GPS collar and relocated. As the city looks at where to spend tax dollars in the future, one group is hoping an historic building receives support. The old YWCA, which has been in the Beltline since the 1910s, is currently vacant after a nonprofit terminated its lease. That forced out more than 60 organizations that had been using the building, and now they are pushing for the building to be repaired and reopened for nonprofits. Some members of the Save the Old Y coalition rallied outside of City Hall today.
Over 100 organizations have been working out of that building providing community services, and so we want to make sure that not only the building is repaired and the money is invested there, but those groups continue to serve the important social issues and security issues that all of us want to address in the downtown.
The coalition says the city is looking into how much it would cost to repair the building. Well, there seems to be two camps when it comes to the first snowfall, those who hate it, and in the other camp, the penguins at the Calgary Zoo. Our trending videos are next. Cochrane is home to the Good Vibes Memory Choirs. They're made up of people living with dementia or memory loss, along with their loved ones or caregivers. The artistic director of the choirs says she sees the benefits of having people come together and sing as a group. And for the first time, the two choirs practiced together for an upcoming performance. Our Kevin Fleming was there.
I only like hippopotamuses. They sit in the back row following the direction of the choir leader to hit all the right notes. Jane McLaughlin and her mom Pat Reed say the Good Vibes Memory Choir has become a big part of their lives.
I love music for one thing, and I knew that my daughter loved music, and I thought this is some way we can be together, and I think that's special.
There's certainly some memory loss here with my mom. She's 89 now, and it's just such a great opportunity to get her involved with other people, to get her singing, to get back to her roots, which is all about the music.
Erica Fairberg says the choir started in Victoria, BC as a research project where brain activity was recorded when singing alone versus in a group setting. Those with memory loss singing by themselves struggled with a lot of activity in the damaged part of their brains.
When we brought the choir back in to sing with them, so a social context, the rest of the brain lit up because it was the undamaged parts of the brain that started to work when they were together. So there's something that happens when we sing together, not sing by ourselves, but sing together.
Many with memory loss aren't thrilled to come to choir, but that all changes when the music starts.
My mother always tells me, oh, I can't sing, Jessie. I don't want to go to choir, but we come and she loves it. So she really enjoys it when she gets here.
Rick Berg says by the end of choir practice, all the members are much more social, and many sign up for upcoming performances.
Some of the staff are going, boy, our loved ones here, they're having better days, and they're eating better, they're sleeping better. We don't have science behind that yet. You know, just people sharing that.
The two memory choirs have 85 members, but organizers continue to welcome more singers to the program. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Cochrane.
The upcoming performance of those choirs is in Cochrane on December 12th and 13th, and we have posted more information about the choir and the performance on our website. Oh, right, you guys. Well, when it's icy like today, you've heard that you're supposed to walk like a penguin, right, for safety? It's scientifically proven. Take a look. They got it. These are the king penguins at the Calgary Zoo today. They were very excited to get outside in all that fresh snow. And they know exactly what to do, especially on an incline. You got to shuffle along for safety.
I'm not going down that hill on my belly, though.
No.
No way.
They make it look fun. Very cute. I'm sure they couldn't wait to get outside. Well, here's someone who's a little more sure on his feet. He's even holding a little friend, so balance is of no concern for him.
Of a castle boat,
We're getting some slick moves down on the farm. Could be a chicken dance if he was holding a chicken, but this Australian farmer is holding a baby goat.
There you go.
Yeah.
Adorable.
They've got a little cafe there. There's all sorts of videos of him on TikTok and Instagram of tap dancing his way through the day.
Goat doesn't seem to mind.
Not at all. No. Not at all. Well, if you put your Christmas decorations up yet, it is starting to be the season for this face.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
That's the honey, go get the decorations face. Sometimes they're in the basement, sometimes they're in the attic, sometimes they're even in storage somewhere else at another location. But somebody's got to go digging, and I'm betting it's going to take more than that one bin to get this house decorated.
Happened yesterday at the Campbell house.
Yes, I bet you were happy to put the decorations up.
Storage room, trying to get that out of there.
Yeah, I love putting the Christmas decorations up.
So exciting.
Well, shares in Alphabet hit new record highs today. It comes on the release of Google's new AI platform that's getting positive reviews. We have the details ahead in our business report.
Okay, your Skywatch weather camera, and looks pretty beautiful out there. It's quite nice to look at, not so nice to drive in. As you know, it was a tricky morning for many people. And for some people, a really, really rough morning that took a lot longer than usual. We have slippery sidewalks, we have slippery roads. That will continue for this week because once we get rid of all of this snow, we have another snowfall on the way on Thursday. The other thing that will continue, the cold temperatures. We're not done with that. In fact, it will get cooler later this week. -4 is our current temperature. Our high was -1. Normal is 0 for this time of year. So we're a little below normal. And it certainly is wintry out there. Now, Pincher Creek right now with the wind chill feels more like -17, Lethbridge -11, and in the city feeling closer to -6 at the moment. All right, radar and satellite showing you that this system is basically out. We're still going to get some isolated pockets of snowfall here and there. No real accumulation from this. This will be very isolated and a lot lighter than what we had pushed through. Many communities, Calgary and off to the west, saw up to 20 centimeters of snow, and then the far southeast corner, close to that as well. I'll have your totals for you as they're confirmed by Environment Canada tomorrow. All right, your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free. And check out the wind chill for tomorrow morning. It will feel closer to -14. And then in the afternoon, feeling closer to -7 with the wind chill. Fog patches likely for the morning, but no more snow falling. A mix of sun and cloud, but again, still slick sidewalks and roads. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Emergency crews dealt with hundreds of collisions in Calgary today. More than 24 people were hurt, none seriously. City snow crews are now clearing Priority 1 roads. The snow has caused major delays and numerous flight cancellations at the Calgary airport. All flights were paused at one point this morning. And more recall petitions have been approved by Elections Alberta. 9 members of the UCP caucus now face recall campaigns. A new deal may be coming later this week to pave the way for a new pipeline from Alberta to the BC coast. Sources say a memorandum of understanding is in the works between Alberta and the feds, but it would lack what might be its most crucial component, buy-in from the people whose land it would run through. Kevin Green reports.
When asked about a pipeline deal Sunday, Prime Minister Mark Carney stuck to his nation-building script.
Big picture, what we're looking to do and what we are doing is a series of major investments, nation-building projects that make our country stronger, more independent from the United States.
And on her weekend radio show, Premier Danielle Smith says she's been in constant contact with her federal counterpart.
And I really hope that we will have an agreement ready and available to be released soon.
Sources say the memorandum of understanding that's expected to be signed this week will push the pipeline project forward and will necessitate some kind of carve-out from the tanker ban along the BC coast. It's also expected to scrap the planned federal emissions cap, bolster carbon capture, and change the industrial carbon tax. Environmental groups say it's not worth the cost.
Not enough is happening here. This is not striking a balance. It is not a grand bargain at all. It's a raw deal.
And in BC, the plan is landing with a thud. The province's premier says it isn't even a pipeline deal, it's political posturing.
There is no route, there is no proponent, there is no company, there is no money. And when you compare our proposals to Alberta, they could not be more different.
Coastal First Nation leaders warn any deal affecting the tanker ban signed without them is dead in the water.
Consultation for them is going to be a tough road. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Trade experts, meanwhile, say global markets will be watching whether Canada proves it can move major projects from talk to construction.
So it's a question of whether or not we can play with the big boys or whether or not we're going to continue to be sitting on the porch watching the world go by. So they're going to want to see some certainty that this isn't just talk.
The federal government says it wants the backing of BC as well as Indigenous communities. Alberta wants to leverage private sector capital, but a memorandum of understanding is not a contract to start construction and does not guarantee that will ever happen. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
A federal government source has confirmed to CTV News the Prime Minister is considering a trip to Washington next week. The news comes less than 48 hours after Mark Carney dismissed a question about when he last spoke with Donald Trump. The PM answered by saying, "Who cares?" Carney had previously said both he and the U.S. president are busy and don't have any burning issues to discuss. Today in the House of Commons, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre pointed out that Carney campaigned on his ability to deal with the Trump administration and accused the Liberals of not caring about Canadian workers. Stocks continue to rally today after a sell-off last week. BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has more.
Hello there. Canadian and U.S. stocks rose today after wavering last week on a fresh rally in giant technology and artificial intelligence plays. Shares in Alphabet, parent of Google, hit a new record high. The company's Gemini 3 AI model is getting good reviews, and it's seen as a threat to arch-rival OpenAI. On the markets, the Canadian dollar was at 70.9 US cents, down a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil traded at $58.96 US a barrel, up 90 cents. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil, $45.34, down 86 cents. And the TSX Composite ended the day at 30,604.35, up just over 443 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Criminal cases against FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James have been dismissed. As CTV's Joy Malvin reports, Comey and James were targets of President Donald Trump's anger.
James Comey was Donald Trump's FBI director in his first term and at the top of the president's political enemies list after he led the investigation into alleged ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. Today, vindication.
The message has to be sent that the President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. I don't care what your politics are. You have to see that as fundamentally un-American.
The case dismissed after federal judge Cameron Curry concluded Lindsay Halligan, Donald Trump's handpicked lawyer who had no experience as a prosecutor, was illegally appointed. Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, the judge said, concluding they were unlawful exercises of executive power. New York's Attorney General Letitia James says she is heartened by the judge's ruling. In 2022, James successfully sued Trump and the Trump Corporation for millions of dollars in a civil fraud case.
Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud.
The president then went after her over a mortgage loan, but the judge also dismissed that case on the same grounds as Comey, saying the prosecutor's appointment was invalid.
The whole thing was improper. I mean, I think this was an obvious one. I would have been shocked if the judge allowed this case to continue. So I think these two cases are doomed, whether it's procedurally or substantively.
Comey's lawyer says he can't be recharged because of the statute of limitations has passed, but it is possible they try and recharge James. The White House says today's judgment will not be their final word. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Calgary High School students will get the chance to train for trades thanks to a corporate donation. Suncor is putting $260,000 toward the Calgary Board of Education's Energizing Youth initiative. It will help students take part in dual credit programs and skills competitions, both provincially and nationally. Students who take part could graduate from high school already accredited in some trades. The biggest beneficiaries will be those who might not otherwise be able to afford the education.
Well, it takes a lot of money to, train students and send to provincials, and there's a lot of people that have talent that, don't come from rich families, and, they might not be able to afford it. So having the sponsors, really cuts down that cost.
For more information, you can log on to skillscompetencescanada.com. The top junior hockey players on the continent will strut their stuff in Calgary. Still to come, Glenn tells us what to expect at the Prospects Challenge at the Saddle Dome. Two Calgarians have done Canada proud at the World Championships of Acro Dance in Milan, Italy. 21-year-old Alex Lang won silver in the adult male solo category, and in the adult groups category, he was part of the team that placed 5th. 16-year-old Serafina Killeran placed 8th in the junior 2 female solo category. Acro dance is a highly technical style that combines ballet, modern dance, and gymnastic tumbling. The top prospects from the Canadian Hockey League go up against the top prospects from the United States in a 2-game series. Glenn is back with us, and Glenn, it all gets underway tomorrow night.
Yeah, Tara, the first game is going to be at the Scotiabank Saddledome tomorrow night, and then they'll play the second game in Lethbridge on Wednesday night. Now, for fans, it's a chance to see some of the stars of the future in the NHL. Medicine Hat Tigers forward Liam Ruck was a late add to the CHL roster for the 2025 CHL USA Prospects Challenge. Ruck got the call when Brooks Rogowski of the Oshawa Generals was unable to participate due to injury.
Yeah, it's a huge honor for sure. Obviously, sucks for that guy that went down, but I was super happy to get the call to, come step out for that spot, and yeah, I'm super excited for this opportunity.
The CHL actually has a couple of Americans playing for them. Kamloops Blazers forward J.P. Hurlburt was born in Allen, Texas, and Kelowna Rockets goaltender Harrison Bediger was born in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Bediger actually played for the U.S. in this game last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see both sides and be able to experience, being on my home country and then playing in, one of the best leagues in the world and being able to, represent both of them at, the highest stage. So, I mean, it's nothing but an honor, and it's something I'm really thankful for.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot of friends over there, but to play for Team CHL is a humongous opportunity, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Team CHL had their first practice together on Monday morning at Winsport. Having never played together definitely puts the CHLers at a disadvantage.
When I talk about, the advantage the U.S. team will have for sure is that they've had a lot more structure and system stuff than us. For us, it's going to be, we're going to have to learn a little bit out of video on that, and the quicker we can learn that, the better we're going to be. But they'll certainly have an advantage on the system stuff.
Prince Albert Raiders defenseman Daxon Rudolph is the lone Albertan playing in this game. He's from Lacombe. Puck drop for both games will be at 6 o'clock. Some great stars of the future.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch. Thank you, Glenn. All right, final word to Danielle for the weather forecast. Not a ton more snow on the way right away.
Right, not right away. I mean, we talked about this week being a winter week, cold, snowy. We kicked it off with a lot of snow, and some more snow is back for Thursday, but we have a couple days in between that to dig out, Fog patches tonight, carrying into tomorrow morning in some spots. Tomorrow, no snow falling, but of course, we're still going to be dealing with the slippery roads and sidewalks, and I don't know about you, but that was a tricky morning commute for sure, and the kids did love to play in the snow because it's the first real snow. And more is back on Thursday, 5 to 7 centimeters possible, and even cooler with a daytime high, -6. Steve Pierpoint sent this one in from Dalhousie today. Thank you, Steve. I'm going to remove the banner here so you can see the full shot. What a cool picture of the city. So beautiful shots, tricky driving.
The nice thing, though, it wasn't freezing today. I mean, it was a big dump of snow, but it wasn't 30 below.
That's
so we were kind of eased into it. Thanks for your company tonight. Have a terrific evening. We'll see you again tomorrow.